Aditya ji, should we look at this period with hope or with caution?
Something is certainly building. Eclipse in Ashlesha Nakshatra may reveal what has remained hidden beneath our words, reactions, and relationships.
So, can this eclipse bring hidden matters into the open?
Yes, I have been calling it love, but perhaps it is attachment. Truth may disturb your comfort, but illusion disturbs your entire life.
Namaste Aditya ji.
Namaste, Meera.
Aditya ji, the planetary atmosphere of August appears unusually powerful. Mars has entered Gemini. Mercury is now entering Cancer, where exalted Jupiter is already present. And within a few days, a powerful solar eclipse is going to take place in Cancer in Ashlesha Nakshatra. So many major planetary developments are unfolding almost at the same time. Is the universe preparing us for something significant? Should we look at this period with hope or with caution?
Meera, you have asked a very important question. Yes, several significant planetary movements are happening within a very short period. Mars entered Gemini on 2nd August. Mercury enters Cancer on 5th August, where Jupiter has already been transiting in its exalted sign. Mercury and Jupiter will come into an exact conjunction around 15th August. And between these developments, a total solar eclipse will take place on 12th August in the sign of Cancer in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Therefore, something is certainly building, but I would not call it merely a positive or a negative period. Life is rarely so simple. The same rain that helps a flower bloom may also flood a poorly constructed house. The same fire that cooks our food can also burn our hands. Similarly, a planetary combination becomes helpful or difficult according to the consciousness with which we experience it. Mars in Gemini is activating thought, speech, communication, and information. Mercury in Cancer is carrying those thoughts into the emotional world. Jupiter is expanding whatever Mercury touches. And the eclipse in Ashlesha Nakshatra may reveal what has remained hidden beneath our words, reactions, and relationships. So the real question, Meera, is not merely what will these planets do to us. The deeper question is what will these planets reveal within us. Remember this spiritual truth. Life does not always disturb us to destroy our peace. Sometimes life disturbs us because the peace we were experiencing was based on avoidance. This period may bring important conversations, decisions, announcements, opportunities, and realizations. But it may also make people emotionally sensitive, mentally restless, and reactive. Therefore, the planets are asking us to develop awareness. Before speaking, pause. Before reacting, observe. Many shallow people immediately react. They don't like any video, they will write offensive comment and create a bad karma. So the more you react, the more you suffer. Because through reaction, you often create bad karma. That is why a wise person, a conscious person, usually never reacts. He only responds, and that too when necessary. And so, before deciding, allow the emotional storm to settle. Because when the water is disturbed, even the moon appears broken. The moon is not broken, only the water is disturbed. Similarly, when the mind becomes disturbed, life appears confusing. First, calm the mind, then look again.
Aditya ji, Mercury represents logic, intelligence, analysis, and communication. Cancer, on the other hand, is an emotional, sensitive, and nurturing sign. What happens when an intellectual planet like Mercury enters such an emotional sign?
Mira, this is where the real story begins. Mercury wants to know what happened. Cancer wants to know how did it make me feel. Mercury collects information. Cancer preserves memories. Mercury speaks through logic. Cancer speaks through the emotional heart. Therefore, when Mercury enters Cancer, we do not communicate only through the present moment. We begin communicating through our memories, our attachments, and past experiences. A small remark may remind someone of an old wound. A simple message may be interpreted through the pain of a previous relationship. A family conversation may suddenly bring back something that happened many years ago. People may remember their childhood, parents, lost relationships, or words that they were never able to forget. This transit can be deeply healing because the mind and heart began speaking to each other. But when awareness is missing, the same transit can create misunderstanding. Many a times, the person standing before us is not the person with whom we were actually fighting. We are fighting with someone from our past. The present person has merely touched the old wound. And this is why I always say the wound is old, but the reaction is new. Awareness is the bridge between the two. During this period, whenever you feel emotionally triggered, ask yourself, am I responding to what this person has actually said? Or am I reacting to something that happened long ago? That one question can save a relationship. It can save a friendship. It can even save you from making a decision that you may later regret. Mercury in Cancer also gives emotional intelligence. It can help teachers, writers, counselors, astrologers, spiritual guides, and content creators communicate in a way that touches the heart. The most powerful words are not always the most complicated words. Sometimes one simple sentence spoken with compassion can heal a person more deeply than 100 intellectual explanations. Knowledge informs, but compassion transforms. Always remember this, Meera.
Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Does Jupiter's presence protect Mercury and make this conjunction beneficial?
Yes, Meera. Jupiter's presence is the greatest source of hope in this planetary picture. Jupiter in Cancer represents wisdom that has developed a heart. It is not a dry philosophy. It is knowledge infused with compassion. When Mercury joins Jupiter, knowledge receives a language. An idea finds the right expression. A teacher discovers a larger audience. A student begins understanding a difficult subject. A business person may receive an important proposal. A content creator may develop an idea that resonates with thousands of people. A family may finally sit together and discuss something that had remained unresolved. This combination, Mira, can support education, writing, counseling, teaching, publishing, business communication, and spiritual learning. But we must remember something important about Jupiter. Jupiter expands. If wisdom is present, Jupiter expands wisdom. If generosity is present, Jupiter expands generosity. If hope is present, Jupiter strengthens hope. But if fear is present, Jupiter may magnify fear. If emotional attachment is present, Jupiter may magnify that attachment. If someone has become overconfident, Jupiter may make that person promise much more than they can deliver. Therefore, this conjunction carries great possibilities, but it also requires emotional maturity. Do not believe every thought merely because it feels powerful. Do not make every promise simply because you are feeling optimistic. Allow your emotion to settle. Then let wisdom make the final decision. A balloon rises because it is filled with air, but without a thread, the same balloon loses its direction. Jupiter gives expansion. Mercury must provide the thread of discrimination. Remember, faith without discrimination becomes blind belief. Intelligence without faith becomes a dry calculation. When faith and intelligence join hands, wisdom is born. This is the higher potential of the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction happening around 15th August.
And what role will Mars in Gemini play? Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so does Mars indirectly influence this entire conjunction?
Absolutely, Mira. Mars in Gemini is extremely important because it energizes the sign ruled by Mercury. Mars represents action, courage, competition, aggression, and urgency. Gemini represents speech, writing, media, technology, travel, trade, ideas, and information. Therefore, Mars in Gemini makes communication fast, forceful, and fearless. People may suddenly become eager to express themselves. They may launch podcasts, campaigns, courses, businesses, or digital projects. They may travel more, network aggressively, or become active across several platforms. This can be highly productive period. But Mars can also convert communication into conflict. A message can become an argument. A rumor can spread rapidly. One careless statement can damage a relationship or reputation. People may type first and think later. They may speak to win rather than speak to understand. But remember, winning an argument is not the same as winning a heart. You may prove that you are right and still lose someone valuable. During this period, communication must become a spiritual practice. Say what needs to be said, but do not add poison to the truth. You can be honest without being harsh. You can establish boundaries without humiliating another person. You can disagree without disrespecting the soul standing before you. The tongue has no bone, yet it can break a heart. Therefore, use your words carefully. Once an arrow leaves the bow, it cannot be recalled. And once a cruel sentence leaves the mouth, an apology may heal the wound, but it may not completely erase the scar.
Now let us come to the solar eclipse. This eclipse is happening in Cancer in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Why does Ashlesha make this eclipse particularly significant?
Mira, Ashlesha is one of the deepest and most psychologically complex nakshatras. Its symbol and energy are connected with the serpent. The serpent does not always move openly. It observes, it senses vibrations, it remains hidden, it coils around what it wants to possess. Therefore, Ashlesha is connected with attachment, secrecy, psychological patterns, emotional entanglement, control, hidden fears, and complicated relationships. But we should never describe Ashlesha as purely negative. Every nakshatra has a lower expression and a higher expression too. The serpent also represents Kundalini, intuition, healing power, transformation, and the ability to shed an old skin. The snake does not hate its old skin. It simply understands that the old skin can no longer contain its growth. This is the deeper message of the eclipse, Mira. Some relationships, identities, habits, and emotional patterns may have completed their purpose in your life, but you may still be holding onto them because they are familiar. And many a times, familiarity feels safer than freedom. The eclipse may reveal where you are emotionally entangled. It may show where love has quietly become dependency, where care has become control, where responsibility has become emotional burden, where loyalty has become fear of moving forward. Do not fear such revelations. Sometimes the truth arrives not to punish you, but to release you. Remember, you cannot receive the new while your hands are still tightly holding the old. The eclipse may create temporary darkness, but darkness does not always mean that the light has disappeared. Sometimes darkness simply means that the light is changing its direction from outside to within.
So, can this eclipse bring hidden matters into the open?
Yes, Mira, but we must understand this carefully. Not every person will experience a dramatic external event. For some, the revelation may come through a relationship, workplace, financial matter, or family situation. For others, it may be completely internal. A person may suddenly realize, I no longer want to live this way. I have been carrying someone else's guilt. I have been repeatedly attracting the same kind of relationship. I am afraid to express what I truly feel. I have been calling it love, but perhaps it is attachment. That realization itself can become the eclipse event. Many people wait for life to change externally, but every outer transformation first begins as an inner realization. A seed breaks beneath the soil before the plant becomes visible above the ground. Therefore, when something begins to break within you, do not immediately assume that everything is going wrong. Perhaps something new is trying to be born. The eclipse may expose a truth, but truth is not your enemy. Truth may disturb your comfort, but illusion disturbs your entire life. As a beautiful spiritual insight reminds us, the truth may hurt for a moment, but an illusion can imprison you for years. So one has to decide whether he or she wants to go with truth or want to live his or her entire life in illusion.
Before we begin the predictions, should viewers listen according to their moon sign or ascendant?
Listen primarily from your moon sign because the moon represents your mind, emotional experience, and everyday perception. You may also listen from your ascendant because it can show you how the transit manifests through external circumstances. However, these are broad transit predictions. The final outcome depends upon your complete birth chart, planetary periods, nakshatras, and the houses activated in your individual horoscope. And so now let us understand what these planetary movements in the month of August may bring for all 12 signs.
Addittya ji. After understanding the overall energy of these transits, I think our viewers will now be eager to know how this planetary combination may personally affect their own zodiac sign. And perhaps we should begin with Aries, the sign known for courage, speed, and action. But during such an emotionally sensitive period, that same speed may need to be handled carefully. What can Aries natives expect?
For Aries, Cancer activates the fourth house of home, mother, property, vehicle, emotional security, and inner peace. Mercury and Jupiter may bring important discussions connected with your family or home. Some Aries natives may consider buying, selling, renovating, or relocating a property. A family decision that had remained pending may begin moving forward. Jupiter may bring support from parents, elders, teachers, or knowledgeable advisor. However, because the eclipse is also activating your fourth house, your understanding of home may undergo a transformation. You may realize that a beautiful house does not automatically create a peaceful home. You can decorate every room and still feel empty inside. Real peace is not created by expensive furniture. Real peace is created when the people living together stop hurting one another. A long standing family matter may come up for discussion. Mars in Gemini gives you courage and supports writing, marketing, travel, and independent projects. But it can also make your communication impatient. Speak gently with siblings and family members. Do not turn every disagreement into a battle that must be won. Aries native should remember strength is not always found in raising your voice. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who chooses not to react. This period can help you establish a stronger emotional foundation. But first, you may need to understand what truly makes you feel at home.
That is important advice for Aries natives, Addittya ji. They are naturally brave, but sometimes bravery also means knowing when not to react immediately. Your guidance about protecting peace at home and avoiding emotionally charged decisions will certainly help them. Now let us move to Taurus. Taurus natives generally seek stability, security, and certainty. So, when communication and family matters become unpredictable, they may feel deeply unsettled. How may this period influence Taurus natives?
Mira, for Taurus, the Cancer transit activates the third house of communication, courage, writing, media, marketing, siblings, and personal enterprise. This can be a productive period for writers, teachers, speakers, consultants, business owners, and content creators. Mercury brings ideas. Jupiter gives those ideas meaning, depth, and a wider reach. You may begin a course, podcast, channel, campaign, or communication based project. A conversation with a sibling or close relative may also become important. The eclipse can transform the way you communicate. You may finally express something that you have suppressed for a long time. But Mars is transiting your second house of speech, family, and accumulated finances. Therefore, your words can become sharp. You may be correct in what you are saying, but your tone may create unnecessary damage. Remember, truth spoken without compassion can become another form of violence. Be careful with emotional spending and impulsive financial decisions. Your voice can open doors during this period. Do not use the same voice to close the hearts of those who have supported you. Speak from clarity, not accumulated frustration. A gentle word does not make you weak. It proves that you have become master of your own fire.
That feels very relevant for Taurus natives, Aditya ji. They often carry responsibilities silently, and people may not always realize how deeply financial or family uncertainty affects them. Your message to communicate gently and avoid stubbornness is especially meaningful. Now we come to Gemini, and Mars is presently transiting through Gemini itself. So I imagine Gemini natives may feel this energy very personally, perhaps even physically and mentally. What should Gemini natives remain aware of?
For Gemini, Mercury and Jupiter activate the second house of money, savings, family, values, food, and speech. Financial planning may become a major theme. You may receive an income opportunity, business proposal, or idea for developing an additional source of earnings. This can be a helpful time to review savings, investments, pricing, and long term financial priorities. Some important family conversations may also take place. The eclipse may change your relationship with money. You may realize that you have been earning to impress others rather than building genuine security. Or you may understand that your worth cannot be measured only by your bank balance. Money is necessary, but money is a servant. The moment it becomes your master, anxiety begins. Mars is transiting Gemini itself, making you energetic, courageous, and ambitious. But it can also create restlessness and impatience. You may feel that everything should happen immediately. Slow down. A fruit pulled before it is ripe never develops its natural sweetness. Your energy is powerful, but it needs a direction. A strong financial or professional idea may emerge now. Give it planning and structure before rushing into execution. For Gemini, the spiritual message is do not confuse speed with progress. A person can run very fast and still be moving in the wrong direction.
That sounds like a very intense period for Gemini natives. Their minds are already active, and with Mars adding speed, it may become difficult for them to slow down or separate a genuine intuition from a hurried reaction. Your advice to pause before speaking may save them from unnecessary conflict. Now we come to Cancer. This is perhaps one of the most important signs during this period because Mercury and Jupiter are transiting through Cancer, and the coming eclipse is also unfolding in Cancer in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Cancer natives are naturally sensitive and emotionally receptive. How deeply may they experience these energies?
Cancer is at the center of this entire planetary development. Mercury, Jupiter, and the solar eclipse are activating your first house of identity, personality, health, direction, and self image. This can become a major personal turning point. You may begin seeing yourself differently. A new responsibility, relationship, role, spiritual understanding, or life direction may emerge. Exalted Jupiter can bring guidance, recognition, and the support of teachers or well wishers. Mercury may help you express emotions that you had previously kept inside. But because the solar eclipse is happening in your own sign, you may also feel unusually sensitive. You may question, who am I? Where do I truly belong? What do I genuinely want from life? Do not fear these questions. A person who never questions their direction may continue walking on the wrong road for years and years. Mars in your 12th house may increase expenses, disturb sleep, hidden frustration, or the desire to withdraw. Do not force yourself to remain socially available when your soul is asking for silence. Always remember, the caterpillar does not become a butterfly in a marketplace. Its transformation takes place in seclusion. Cancer natives should remember solitude is not always loneliness. Sometimes solitude is the sacred room where the soul repairs itself. Avoid making an extreme decision at the peak of an emotional reaction. This eclipse may not be taking something away from you. It may be removing an identity that no longer represents the person you are becoming.
I can understand why Cancer natives may feel unusually emotional during this period, Aditya ji. When so much planetary energy enters their sign, even old memories or feelings they thought they had overcome may return. But I also found your message hopeful that emotional intensity can become wisdom when it is observed with awareness. Now let us move to Leo. Leo natives usually carry confidence and a strong presence, but these transits may activate matters happening behind the scenes. What could this period bring for Leo natives?
For Leo, Cancer activates the 12th house of expenses, foreign lands, sleep, isolation, spirituality, charity, and liberation. You may feel a strong desire to step away from noise and spend some time alone. Old memories, dreams, and unresolved emotions may surface. Some Leo natives may travel abroad, work with foreign clients, or become connected with distant places. Jupiter can make certain expenses meaningful, especially those connected with education, health, travel, spiritual practice, or family responsibilities. But the eclipse asks you to examine unconscious patterns. What are you trying to escape? What truth do you repeatedly hide from yourself? Mars in your 11th house can bring gains, networking, and support from influential people. Your social circle may become active, but you must choose your associations carefully. Not every person who praises you is your well wisher, and not every person who corrects you is your enemy. One part of you may seek recognition, another part may seek silence. Do not consider this contradiction a weakness. Even the king must remove his crown before he can rest. For Leo, the spiritual message is your value does not disappear when no one is applauding. The sun continues to shine even when the whole world is asleep. And so, withdraw when necessary. You may return with great clarity, humility, and strength.
That is a very subtle prediction for Leo natives, Aditya ji. They may appear strong outwardly, but inwardly they may be processing much more than others can see. Perhaps this is a time when they should not feel guilty about withdrawing briefly, resting, or seeking spiritual silence. Now let us move to Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is one of the central planets in this entire combination. Virgo natives often analyze every detail, every word, and every possibility. Could this period make them overthink friendships, goals, or professional connections?
For Virgo, the Cancer combination activates the 11th house of income, gains, friendships, social networks, and fulfillment of desires. This can become a productive period. Mercury, your ruling planet, joining exalted Jupiter, may bring valuable contacts, financial opportunities, and expansion of your audience or professional network. A friend, senior person, or existing client may introduce you to an important opportunity. Mars in your 10th house makes you ambitious and action oriented in your career. You may take charge of a project, change your strategy, or become more visible professionally. However, office politics and disagreements with authority figures must be handled carefully. The eclipse may transform your social circle. You may outgrow a friendship, group, or professional network. Do not hold on to an association merely because it has existed for many years. Some people walk with us for one chapter, not for the entire book. Their departure does not always mean betrayal. Sometimes the soul contract is simply complete. For Virgo, the spiritual message is do not measure friendship by its duration. Measure it by the truth, growth, and goodness it brought into your life. Focus on meaningful connections rather than collecting contacts. A major goal may move closer to fulfillment, provided your intention remains pure and your effort remains consistent.
That is so true for Virgo natives. Their intelligence is a gift, but sometimes the mind keeps analyzing even after the answer has already arrived. Your advice to distinguish careful planning from anxious overthinking is very valuable. Now we come to Libra. Libra natives value harmony and balance, but career responsibilities and public expectations may create pressure during this period. How may these transits affect their professional life and emotional balance?
For Libra, Cancer activates the 10th house of career, profession, status, reputation, and public responsibility. This is an important professional period. Mercury and Jupiter may bring recognition, an offer, promotion, leadership opportunity, or an important conversation with senior management. Business owners may attract larger clients or receive greater visibility. Those working in teaching, communication, law, finance, consulting, spirituality, or advisory roles may experience growth. Mars in your ninth house supports travel, higher education, and bold new ideas. You may feel inspired to explore a course, philosophy, or international opportunity. However, avoid arguments with mentors, teachers, senior professionals, or your father. The eclipse in the 10th house may transform the direction of your career. You may begin questioning whether the path that gives you status also gives you satisfaction. Many people climb the ladder of success only to discover that it was standing against the wrong wall. Do not resign or make an extreme professional decision only because you feel temporarily frustrated. Observe what is unfolding. The eclipse may first create uncertainty, but that uncertainty can guide you toward a more authentic purpose. Libra natives should remember success without inner peace is only a beautifully decorated form of exhaustion. And so, do not merely ask, how high can I rise? Also ask, who am I becoming while I rise?
That seems like an important turning point for Libra natives, Addittya ji. They may have to choose between keeping everyone happy and remaining truthful to their own direction. And sometimes maintaining outer peace at the cost of inner peace becomes exhausting. Now let us move to Scorpio. Scorpio natives naturally understand hidden emotions, transformation, and deeper truths. With the eclipse happening in Ashlesha nakshatra, could this period awaken strong spiritual or karmic realizations for them?
For Scorpio, Cancer activates the ninth house of destiny, higher learning, teachers, father, long distance travel, philosophy, and spiritual understanding. Jupiter is naturally comfortable with these themes. This can become a meaningful period of learning and inner expansion. You may meet a teacher, guide, guru, or advisor whose words change your perspective. Some Scorpio natives may travel, pursue higher education, publish their work, or deepen their spiritual practice. Mercury may bring important documentation connected with education, immigration, travel, or legal matters. But Mars, your ruling planet, is transiting through the 8th house. This can bring sudden developments, intense emotions, research, secrets, or matters connected with joint finances. Do not take unnecessary physical or financial risks. The solar eclipse may challenge a belief that you have carried for many years. At first, this may feel uncomfortable, but spiritual growth begins when we stop defending an idea merely because we inherited it. A borrowed belief cannot give you freedom. It may give you identity, but not realization. And so for Scorpio, the message is the true teacher does not ask you to believe blindly. The true teacher helps you develop the eyes to see for yourself. Your destiny may not change overnight. Your understanding of destiny may change. And when your understanding changes, the direction of your life also begins to change.
That was a deeply transformative message for Scorpio natives. They may say certain uncomfortable truths, but perhaps those very truths can free them from an old emotional burden. Your words remind us that healing does not always begin with comfort. Sometimes it begins with honest recognition. Now we come to Sagittarius. Sagittarius natives are usually optimistic and forward-looking, but this period may draw their attention towards shared finances, emotional vulnerability, or matters beyond their control. What should Sagittarius natives understand?
For Sagittarius, Cancer activates the 8th house of transformation, joint finances, inheritance, secrets, research, vulnerability, and emotional intimacy. This can be an intense but deeply transformative period. Your ruling planet Jupiter is strong. Therefore, even when a complicated matter emerges, guidance or protection may also become available to you. You may need to review taxes, loans, insurance, shared money, or financial arrangements with a spouse or business partner. Mercury can uncover missing information or help you understand something that previously appeared confusing. The eclipse may reveal an emotional truth within a close relationship. Mars is transiting your 7th house, which can increase passion but also arguments between partners. Do not turn every difference of opinion into a question of loyalty. Avoid dominating your partner and do not allow another person to dominate you. This is a period for honest conversations about trust, boundaries, money, and expectations. Something hidden may surface. Receive the truth calmly. A revelation becomes painful when we are determined to continue living inside an illusion. For Sagittarius, the spiritual message is transformation is not becoming someone new. It is removing everything that prevents you from being who you truly are. Do not resist every ending. Some endings are doors. only disguised as walls.
That prediction carries both caution and hope for Sagittarius natives. They may need to slow down in financial matters and also become more emotionally transparent in close relationships. For someone who naturally prefers freedom, admitting vulnerability may not be easy, but perhaps it can bring deeper trust. Now let us move to Capricorn. Capricorn natives often carry responsibilities with great discipline, but relationship matters may become specially important during this period. How could these planetary energies affect their partnerships and personal equations?
For Capricorn, Cancer activates the seventh house of marriage, partnership, business agreements, clients, and public interaction. This can bring an important development in a relationship. Single Capricorn natives may meet someone mature, educated, or spiritually inclined. Those already in a relationship may discuss marriage, commitment, family responsibilities, or their shared future. Business partnerships and client relationships may also expand. Mercury supports negotiation, while Jupiter can bring a fair minded advisor or beneficial agreement. However, the eclipse may expose an imbalance. One person may have been giving too much while the other has remained emotionally unavailable. Mars in your sixth house gives you the ability to defeat competition, resolve obstacles, and take decisive action. But it can also create unnecessary disputes. Read every agreement carefully. Do not say yes merely because you want to maintain peace, but also do not destroy a valuable relationship because of temporary irritation. The solar eclipse may not end the relationship, it may end the unhealthy pattern through which the relationship has been functioning. Capricorn natives should remember love does not demand that you lose yourself. A healthy relationship brings two complete individuals together. It does not create two emotional prisoners. Establish boundaries with kindness. A boundary built with awareness protects love. A wall built from fear prevents love from entering. Understand the difference. Remember the difference.
That is very meaningful for Capricorn natives, Addittya ji. They often express love through responsibility rather than words. But during this period, their loved ones may need emotional reassurance, not only practical support. Sometimes, one sincere conversation can heal what months of silent duty could not express. Now we come to Aquarius. Aquarius natives are often focused on ideas, society, and the larger picture. But these transits may bring their attention towards health, daily routine, and work pressure. What should they be careful about?
For Aquarius, Cancer activates the sixth house of work, health routines, competition, debts, discipline, and service. Mercury and Jupiter can help you solve a complicated workplace problem. You may receive better guidance, improve your routine, or find a more effective way of managing responsibilities. Students preparing for competitive examinations may become more focused, provided they remain disciplined. This is also a suitable period for reviewing pending payments, loans, and financial obligations. The solar eclipse may show where your daily life has become emotionally exhausting. You may realize that constantly helping everyone has left you with no energy for yourself. Service is beautiful, but self neglect is not spirituality. I repeat, self neglect is not spirituality. You cannot keep pouring water from an empty vessel. Mars in your fifth house increases creativity, passion, and competitive spirit, but it can create impatience in romance or disagreements with children. Avoid high risk speculation driven by excitement. Channel this energy into learning, fitness, and constructive creative work. Aquarius native should remember your life changes when your daily habits change. Destiny often enters quietly through the door of discipline. A major breakthrough may come through one small habit that you have repeatedly ignored. Transformation does not always arrive through a dramatic event. Sometimes it begins when you wake up 1 hour earlier, eat more consciously, pray regularly, or finally complete the work that you have been postponing.
That is a much needed reminder for Aquarius natives. They may be mentally occupied with many responsibilities, but the body also has its own language, and when it asks for rest, it should not be ignored. Your advice to simplify their routine and avoid unnecessary workplace arguments feels very practical. And now we arrive at Pisces, the final sign. Pisces natives are naturally intuitive, creative, and spiritually sensitive. Could this eclipse awaken matters connected with love, children, creativity, or emotional fulfillment for them?
For Pisces, Cancer activates the fifth house of children, education, creativity, romance, mantra, and past life merit. This can become a beautiful period for learning, teaching, and creative expression. Jupiter, your ruling planet, supports wisdom, children, and spiritual knowledge. Mercury can help writers, teachers, speakers, astrologers, artists, and content creators communicate their ideas effectively. Students may receive clarity regarding education or an important academic decision. Some Pisces natives may experience a meaningful development connected with children or relationships. However, the solar eclipse may transform your understanding of love. You may recognize whether a relationship is based on genuine affection or emotional dependency. Love gives freedom. Attachment says you must behave according to my expectations. Otherwise, I will suffer. Mars in your fourth house can bring activity connected with home, property, vehicles, or relocation. It can also create impatience within the family. Avoid carrying professional frustration into your home. Pisces natives should use this period for mantra, prayer, study, and creative work. Something that has lived quietly within your heart may now be ready to find expression. Do not underestimate the healing power of creativity. A poem, painting, prayer, or a piece of music can sometimes express what ordinary conversation cannot. For Pisces, the spiritual message is your sensitivity is not your weakness. When guided by awareness, sensitivity becomes intuition, compassion, and creativity. Protect your heart, but Do not close it. A closed heart avoids pain, but it also prevents love from entering.
That was such a beautiful message for Pisces natives, Aditya ji. Their sensitivity may make this period emotionally intense, but it can also deepen their creativity, prayer, and connection with the divine. Listening to all 12 predictions, I notice one common thread running through every sign. Some signs may experience changes in relationships. Some may face questions connected with career, finances, family, or health. But for everyone, the deeper challenge appears to be the same. How do we respond when emotions rise? How do we communicate when the mind is restless? And how do we remain centered when the familiar light temporarily appears uncertain? Aditya ji, would you say that conscious communication is the central spiritual message of this entire planetary period?
Yes, Mira. Communication is certainly one of the central themes. But beneath communication lies emotion. Mars in Gemini may make us speak quickly. Mercury in Cancer may make us speak emotionally. Jupiter may magnify the message, and the eclipse in Ashlesha Nakshatra may reveal the hidden attachment or fear behind our words. Therefore, before speaking, ask yourself, is this coming from clarity or from pain? Before sending an angry message, wait. Before making a major announcement, verify the facts. Before ending a relationship, understand the real reason behind your reaction. Before making a financial commitment, read the details carefully. And before believing a rumor, remember that during Mars in Gemini, information may travel faster than truth. Silence can become a powerful spiritual practice during this entire period. But silence does not mean suppressing your feelings. Silence means giving yourself enough inner space to understand what you are truly feeling before placing it upon another person. The ocean is not silent because it is empty. It is silent in its depth. Noise exists only on the surface, and that is why shallow people are always noisy. They are too talkative, whereas wise people are always silent. Understand the difference. Remember the difference. And so, try to go deeper. The more deeper you go, the more you understand, the more you realize, and that realization is the real thing.
That is so true, Aditya ji. We often regret our words only after they have already reached the other person. And perhaps the greatest challenge is that in an emotional moment, pain begins speaking before wisdom has had an opportunity to respond. Your words about silence are also deeply meaningful. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, withdrawal, or suppression. But what you are describing is a silence filled with awareness, a pause that allows truth to rise above reaction. Still, many viewers may be feeling anxious about the eclipse itself. The word eclipse naturally creates a certain fear in people. What would you say to someone who is genuinely worried about its impact?
Never fear an eclipse. Respect its energy. Remain conscious Avoid unnecessary emotional extremes. An eclipse does not arrive to frighten every individual on earth. Its deeper symbolic purpose is to interrupt our habitual way of seeing. For a short time, the familiar light is covered, and in that temporary darkness, we may become aware of something we were previously unable or unwilling to see. The coming days may reveal an emotion, pattern, truth, or possibility that has remained hidden. Do not run away from it. Observe it, understand it, and when the time is right, release what has completed its journey. Remember the ancient prayer. From darkness, lead me toward light. From illusion, lead me toward truth. From fear, lead me toward freedom. Darkness is not always the absence of God. Sometimes darkness is the womb in which a new understanding is being born. A seed grows in the darkness. A child develops in the darkness of the mother's womb. Meditation happens when the eyes are closed. So do not fear every dark phase. Sometimes life switches off the outer lights so that you may discover the lamp burning within.
That is such a comforting and beautiful way of looking at darkness, Addittya ji. We usually pray for darkness to disappear immediately. The moment something becomes uncertain, we want clarity. The moment something becomes painful, we want relief. The moment a door closes, we immediately begin asking why life is being unfair to us. But perhaps darkness itself sometimes has something to teach us. And the thought that life may switch off the outer lights so that we can discover our inner lamp is deeply touching. It reminds me that darkness may not always be a punishment. Sometimes it may be a sacred pause. Sometimes it may be life preparing our eyes to see differently. Is there a story that can help us understand this message more profoundly?
Yes, Meera. There is a beautiful Zen story about a disciple who had gone to meet his master. The master lived alone on the top of a hill, surrounded by a dense forest. The disciple had spent the entire day sitting in the presence of the master. As evening approached, he thought several times that he should leave because he had to cross a long forest path before reaching his village. But the presence of the master was so peaceful, so enchanting that he continued sitting there. Slowly, evening became night. Night became midnight. Finally, the master looked at the disciple and said, "Now it is time for you to go." The disciple looked outside. There was no moon. It was a dark night, midnight. The forest was completely dark. Fear entered his mind. He said, "Master, the path passes through a dense forest. There is no moonlight, and I am afraid that I may lose my way." The master quietly lit a candle and placed it in the disciple's hand. The disciple felt relieved. He bowed before the master and began walking towards the door. But just as he stepped outside, the master leaned forward and blew out the candle. Suddenly there was complete darkness. The disciple stood there, shocked and confused. He turned towards his master and said, Master, I do not understand. You gave me the candle and now you have extinguished it. How will I find my way? The master replied, a borrowed light cannot illuminate your entire journey. You must become a light unto yourself. And in that moment of outer darkness, something awakened within the disciple. Mira, this is also the deeper spiritual message of an solar eclipse. For a brief moment, the familiar light is covered. The borrowed lights upon which we depend, the approval of others, the opinion of others, the emotional support of others, and the certainty offered by outer circumstances may no longer appear sufficient. Life may temporarily remove the candle from your hand. Not because life wants you to remain lost in darkness, but because life wants you to discover that the real lamp was always within you. The eclipse is not asking you to walk in fear. It is inviting you to awaken your own awareness. Because once the inner lamp is burning, even the darkest forest cannot make you lose your path. What a beautiful story is this. Very close to my heart, Mira.
What a powerful story, Addittya ji. For a moment, I could almost feel the disciple standing alone outside the master's home, holding an extinguished candle and facing that dark forest. Initially, the master's action may appear harsh. One may wonder, why did the master take away the only light that could have helped him? But then one realizes that the master was not abandoning the disciple. He was freeing him from dependence. Perhaps many of us are also carrying borrowed lights, the approval of others, a relationship, a particular position, money, possessions, status, or simply the reassurance that everything will always remain under our control. And when one of those lights suddenly disappears, we begin believing that life has left us alone in darkness. But perhaps that is the very moment when our own light is waiting to awaken. Perhaps the darkness is not saying you have been abandoned. Perhaps it is whispering, now discover the strength that has always lived within you. For viewers who feel inspired by this message, is there one simple spiritual practice that everyone can follow during this period?
Keep your mind calm and your surroundings peaceful. Avoid unnecessary arguments, negative discussions, and emotional confrontations around the eclipse period. Spend some time in meditation. Offer your prayers according to your faith. You may light a lamp before your chosen deity and sit silently for a few minutes. And as you look at the flame, remember the story of the disciple. The outer lamp is only a reminder of the lamp that must awaken within you. Do not ask for 10 things. Simply say, guide me towards what is right. Give me the strength to accept what I cannot control and the wisdom to correct what I can. And you may gently chant the beautiful, sweet, healing Rama mantra. Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. Om Ram Ramaya Namaha. What a sweet mantra this is. So sweet. The name of Ram brings steadiness to the mind. It reminds us to remain anchored in Dharma even when the outer world appears uncertain. When the storm is strong, a tree survives not because its branches are rigid, but because its roots are deep. Let prayer become your root. Let awareness become your strength. Let compassion become your language.
There is something deeply reassuring about this practice, Aditya ji. It does not ask us to escape from life or perform something complicated. It simply asks us to pause, pray, and return to our own center. And I particularly loved your words. Let prayer become your root. Let awareness become your strength. Let compassion become your language. At a time when people are speaking so quickly and reacting so emotionally, compassion may truly be the most healing language of all. Sometimes one gentle sentence can save a relationship. Sometimes one moment of patience can prevent years of regret. And sometimes simply sitting silently before a lamp can remind us that not every problem needs an immediate reaction. Some situations need prayer, some need patience, and some need surrender. Thank you, Aditya ji, for taking such a complex planetary combination and transforming it into a message that feels not only understandable but also deeply personal, hopeful, and spiritually uplifting.
Thank you, Meera. My dear friends, remember, the planets may create the atmosphere, but they do not take away your awareness. A strong wind may begin to blow. You may not be able to stop the wind, but you can decide whether to stand with awareness or allow yourself to be carried away by every emotional wave. Speak consciously, choose wisely. Do not allow a temporary emotion to create a permanent consequence. And when life reveals something that you had not expected, do not immediately assume that life is working against you. Sometimes what appears to be a disturbance is actually the beginning of liberation. Sometimes a closed door is protecting you from the wrong path. Sometimes a delay is preparing you. Sometimes a loss is creating space. And sometimes darkness appears only so that you may finally notice your own light. Do not be afraid of change. The river reaches the ocean because it never insists on remaining where it was born. It leaves the mountain, it crosses unknown lands, it moves around rocks, it falls, it rises. It continues flowing. And because it continues flowing, one day it becomes one with the ocean. Continue flowing, continue learning, continue trusting the divine intelligence of life, and remember the message of the Zen master. A borrowed light may accompany you for a short distance, but ultimately you must awaken the lamp within your own being. The eclipse may cover the outer light for a while, but no eclipse can extinguish the light of awareness within you. Love to each one of you. Be well. Take care of yourself, your family, and your close friends. Remain peaceful, prayerful, and aware. And never react. As I always say, shallow people react. Like an idiot, they may comment. Like an idiot, they may say something. They may react. Only shallow people react. Wise people never react. So decide what you are. If you are wise, you will never react. And during this powerful planetary period, allow your words to heal, not hurt. Allow your intelligence to guide others, not manipulate others. And allow your heart to remain open without becoming attached. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।